First, we need to wrap the yarn around the pen for about 10 rounds, and then insert hook in the center of the ring, make a chain, and we make single crochet in the ring for the whole round. I finished this round. In this round I have 15 stitches, and I made a slip stitch on the first single crochet. And second round we make a chain 3, make puff stitch, and insert the hook in the same chain as the slip stitch, and yarn over, pull out a loop for 4 times. And in the next stitch we also do the same, yarn over, pull out a loop for 4 times. So then we yarn over, pull out all the loops, and then chain 1, and then chain 3. I'll make a slip stitch on the second single crochet of the last round, and then we make 2 single crochets in the next 2 stitches. And then slip stitch in the next stitch, chain 3, we start with the second puff stitch. Yarn over 4 times, pull out a loop, and in the same stitch 4 times. And in the next single crochet we also do the same, yarn over, pull out a loop for 4 times. And pull out all the loops, chain 1, and then chain 3. And you repeat the same process for the whole round. We make 5 petals. And 2 single crochets in the end. After the slip stitch, we chain 5, and between each petal, because we made 2 single crochets, so we will make the same puff stitch in these 2 single crochets. We need to put the petal in the front and the chain at the back. So chain 3, yarn over, pull out a loop 4 times in the first stitch, and the second one also yarn over, pull out a loop for 4 times. And pull out all the loop at one time, chain 1. And then chain 3. Make a slip stitch. I will also do the same in the second pair of single crochet. And we'll just repeat the same process for the whole round. And now I made another 5 petals. We will make a slip stitch on the first chain of this round. Now we have already finished the center part, then we change the yarn and change the crochet hook. So with a new color, we move on to the 2mm hook and fix the yarn at any chain 5 space. And we chain 1. In each chain we make 6 single crochets. Now yarn over, pull out 2 loops at one time, and repeat the same process for the whole row until you have only 1 loop on the hook. This is the first row. And then chain 1. We will make an increase, and you can see on top of the row that we just made, because in the front there are some vertical lines, on top there are horizontal loops. These loops, we will work through these loops for the second row. So because we made a chain 1, so the first loop is the chain that we just created. So in this time we will pull out the loop for 6 times. So then you will have 7 loops on the hook, and then insert the hook in the same stitch of the first row. We will make a slip stitch. So insert the hook, pull out a loop, and pull out 2 loops at one time. Make it tighter, and you still have 7 loops on the hook. And repeat the same process as the previous row. Pull out 2 loops at one time. This is the second row, and the third row we will not make any increase. You just pull out the loop for 6 times. So you still have 7 loops on the hook, and we will make a slip stitch on the next stitch. So after the slip stitch, you still have 7 loops on the hook, and pull out 2 loops at one time until you finish the whole row. And in the next row, we will make increase. So chain 1, then you will work on the loops on the top. Because we make a new chain, so we will pull out the loop for 7 times. And then slip stitch on the same stitch. So then repeat the same process. This is for the 7 stitches. And next row we will also not make any increase, so you just work on the top loops directly 7 times. And then the slip stitch should be made on the next stitch, next base stitch. And then it's time for increase, so chain 1. We need to pull out the loops for 8 times. And again, slip stitch on the same base stitch. And then chain 2. So after chain 2, you have 2 more back loops. So we will make a slip stitch on the second loops from the hook. So after the slip stitch, we didn't make any increase. So this time we still need to pull out the loops for 8 times. So the slip stitch will be made on the next base stitch. So now you have 9 loops on the hook. And then we will start with decrease. And on the first loop, we make a slip stitch. So then we will start work on the second one. So this time we will need to pull out only 7 loops. And again, slip stitch on the same base stitch of the last row. And next row, we don't do any decrease, so the same as the last row, so we only pull out 7 loops. And then it's time for the next decrease. So we make a slip stitch first. And then start with the top loops. We only need to pull out 6 loops this time. And then slip stitch on the same base stitch. And then no decrease, 6 loops at this time. A slip stitch on the next base stitch. And next row, decrease, so a slip stitch on the first loop. And on the next loop, we start with only 5. We only need to pull out 5 loops this time. And a slip stitch on the same base stitch. And in the last row, we will make 1 slip stitch first and start with single crochets on the top loops. So it should be 4 single crochets. Finally, a slip stitch on the chain. So this is the first petal. So we do the same for the other 4 petals. So because for each petal we have 6 single crochets. So for each one, it's 1 row of 5, 2 rows of 6, and 2 rows of 7, 2 rows of 8, 2 rows of 7, and then 2 rows of 6, and 1 row of 5. So this is the last petal. So after you finish the last petal, we make a slip stitch on the first stitch. So this is the final look. So I hope you like it. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.